beating Sheffield, and it doesn't happen that often. I don't care what's at stake for the game. In terms of the bigger picture, we want to beat Sheffield on Saturday, so we have to have that mindset. We've got to be ultra competitive, because we were trying to carry that into the playoffs. If we take the foot off the pedal in any way, shape or form, even subconsciously, we really do jeopardise our capability of getting into the playoffs yet again. So I want to see a team turn up tomorrow night and give it 100%.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's going to be one of those. It's going to be a strange one, I think, tomorrow night. And you have got paying fans turn up, and I'm sure the players don't deliberately switch off. I mean, I'm sure that's not what happens. It's just, there's always got a mind on how maybe getting an injury that's going to put them out, or and what for. You're right, I think, again about Sheffield. Another one we've already taken 2 points off Sheffield this year. If we can win the game on Saturday night, we'll be 500 against them this year, which is rare again for us against an Earhart at the moment. And obviously Sheffield have got a lot of things going on as well. They're probably out the league race now, 10 points behind Cardiff. I really cannot see them making that up. So they're basically assured of having third or fourth seed. Oh, sorry, fourth or fifth seed it'll be for Sheffield. So they're kind of in a kind of limbo sort of situation as well. I know, Jennifer, Graham's right though, every game against Sheffield's always one we want to see, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with Sheffield's results last weekend, losing to Coventry on Saturday night before the Challenge Cup game, that was definitely them out the league running. That was the points that if they were going to have any contention of still being in play, that was the points they needed to get, and they didn't. They obviously went for the Challenge Cup, but yeah, it'd be lovely to win against an Earhart. At the end of the day, we've won 5 home games in a row, which I think we were on a very good run. It's been the first time this season that we've actually had that sort of run. But as I said, Wednesday and Saturday, it's going to be tough games for us all. But you know what? You just dust the skates off and get on to the next game and just get the head back down and see how we go.
Looking around the league, one of the things that's happened recently, we spoke about Justin Fox, who is one of my favourite players this year. His ban being reduced from 5 to 2. It isn't a surprise to me, because I said last week when we spoke about it, I thought the ban for 5 games was a bit heavy. But does it not make a mockery of Dop's decision to start with, Jennifer, that it gets more than halved? It's not just they're taking off 1 game, they're taking off 3 games. It's just, you wonder, we don't exactly know who's exactly making the first decision. We don't exactly know who's overturning an appeal, but what's going on? It's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge chunk, but we saw the same last season as well, with like a couple of well-timed appeals where initial bans were actually slashed rather than just a couple of games. So, I mean, as you've already said, is it the initial putting on of all the extra games? Is that what's gone wrong, or is it because they've actually paid the money in? You need to think about that as well, because obviously it's not cheap to put in.
You're not suggesting that they gave them the reduction just so they wouldn't lose their money, yeah?
I can't say anything if people if people want to assume that, but yeah, you can't help but think that. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, we had quite a hefty ban that we haven't appealed, and obviously Nottingham have had another hefty ban that I don't think they're going to appeal as well. So I just think it's really weird to go from 5 games to 2. 5 games to 3 wouldn't be so bad, but 5 games to 2 just goes to show that they had it all wrong in the first place.
But then does that not mean, like, obviously we're going to say Graham Robert Farmer went Tonto, and I've taken it you've seen it. It just I don't know. Anyway, he got a 5-game ban. Does that not encourage Nottingham to appeal and say, "Come on, you gave 5 to Fox, we want a reduction as well"?
well, possibly. Although I think very early on, I think the suggestion was that they weren't going to do that. But I mean, for me, it's probably more about intent. I mean, they are 2 quite different types of situations where, Farmer just lost the plot, and you can't debate the intent side of it. Whereas
not
at the same
the Farmer
time,
one, no, definitely not.
no, definitely not. Whereas the Fox one, as we talked about, was the intent there? Possibly not. It might
Only
have been,
he will know that. Only Justin Fox knows that, to be honest, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So from that point of view, it's Dopp's inconsistency. Who is it? Is it Mr. Kirkham just on his own, burning the midnight oil, looking at these things again? I don't know. I don't think there's any financial aspect to it, because part of these, I'm not convinced about this fine aspect anyway. I always think that when it's self-governing, the league fine in itself is always a bit of a strange one. But, I don't know. It's just more inconsistency. So, if it had been 2 straight out and then the Farmer with the 5-game ban, then, to be honest, I think that probably would have been right. So I think as Jen said, it just proves that they got it wrong in the first instance,
and not for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It just baffles me how it can go from 5 to 2, and how the 2 supposed panels of experts, if that's what we're told, can have such a varied opinion of what's happening. So I don't know. Anyway, obviously the people who done it originally thought it was intentional, and the people who have reduced it to 2 have thought maybe it wasn't so intentional. But you could see that was always going to be the case with that one. So anyway, Dops again, we move on. Cardiff Sheffield Challenge Cup final. I didn't watch it. I'm not prepared to pay £10 to watch 2 teams I don't have a great deal of interest in. Should it have been, that brings me to the question though, should it have been free to air, either by Frontrunner, by BBC Red Button if you can get it, or by online? I mean, why should they not have a final like this and make it a showpiece and try and, from all accounts it was a cracking game, why not make it free to air and try and attract some people to watch it?
Jen, you can do that, because I spent an hour on that one.
Well, I think if you're wanting to grow the sport and get more people in, I mean, a £10 for this for basically one game, and for a lot of people watching it as neutrals, it's quite a lot of money just for a single game. If it had even been cheaper, then perhaps it would have been a bit more economical. But I've certainly seen that there's been quite a lot of stuff from Clan to do with like BBC Sport this week. Do you know what I mean? These are the sort of channels we need to be pursuing. We need to get it away from like webcasts and just basically people in the know, and actually getting a bit more out there. Do you know what I mean? BBC Red Button, that would have been absolutely ideal. Just think how many people would have stumbled upon it then. But like, as I said, it was a good game, but the problem with webcasts as well, and I'm sure there's lots and lots of people who are in the predicament where they couldn't get the service. Do you know what I mean? And they're still having problems trying to get their refunds as well. So when you've got all these like web-based services, you are relying on all your technology and all your connections and everything that working right. And this is just another instance where that hasn't happened. Obviously, the reason that I saw the game was that it was actually periscoped by somebody, I'm presuming with permission. But do you know what I mean? There would have been a lot of people who wouldn't have seen that game just simply because the logistics behind it didn't actually work and the technology failed everybody. And it was a very, very good game. I have to give credit. Cardiff played well. They didn't give up. Sheffield pretty much were defending. Certainly the last 2 periods that I saw, they didn't really have too much going forward. But like Moose played an absolute blinder.
Congratulations to Cardiff and winning the Challenge Cup final. I wouldn't be surprised if they won everything this year. I said at the beginning of the year I thought they'd win the league, and it looks like they probably will. At Sheffield, I think Graham are out it. Belfast still have a slight chance if Cardiff, drop the puck on the way in the last few games. But back to the free to air thing. Icetime TV are usually pretty reliable. I don't know the reasons it failed. However, I suspect it may just be the demand on the service, and they didn't have enough to cope with it. I don't know. I still go back to what I think. It should not have been a pay-per-view event for me. They should have tried to set, even if it was via Frontrunner, it should be on the box, somebody able to get it for free. Just because it's a final, I just don't think it should be paid for. Graham, I know you could go on first for ages, but let's give us a abbreviated version.
Well, at the time I tweeted pretty much what you're saying before the Challenge Cup final. I was out that day watching my son's team win the Scottish Under-12 League Championship. So well done,
Congratulations,
Killian. Well done, Killian as well. So I had far more important things going on that day. But had that not been happening, I would have been at home and I would probably have paid my £10 to watch the webcast, because despite all efforts to the contrary, it is one of the 3 big trophies. It's number 3, but it is one of the 3. And, Cardiff and Sheffield, probably the 2 best teams overall throughout the season. Sorry, Belfast. But, it was going to be a good game, and obviously it was. For me, it all comes back to the same thing. How serious are the league about this front-runner deal? Because I don't believe they're serious about it at all. I never believed they were serious about it to begin with. For me, it was just something so that somebody could say, there we are, we're on TV. It was... You've got front-runner who are abysmal at promoting themselves. You've got the league who obviously tweet about the programme, the highlights programme. But if you needed any confirmation that the league was in no way serious about that TV deal, this was it. Because as you rightly say, that game should have been on front-runner TV. Put it on free-to-air. We were told at the time that the deal was done, this is how important it is. It's important that the league get onto free-to-air TV. Well, it obviously wasn't that important because this game wasn't on it. So, for me, the whole thing, and you're right, Ice Time TV are normally good, and I wouldn't necessarily point the finger too much at them. I just think it was all a bit kind of cosy, local. We'll have it in Cardiff. We'll have the local Cardiff boys do it. And it was a big final, and I don't know what kind of demand that they were expecting and whether they had any premonitions or any indications that their servers or whatever the hell it was wouldn't be able to handle the demand. But it was just a complete embarrassment for the sport, for the league. And it's sad that it happened, and as Jen rightly says, I think from what I hear, it was an excellent game. And what a shame that the people who had paid good money to see it didn't see all of it, or much of it, or any proportion of it. Just unacceptable. But the free-to-air thing, to me, it was nonsense at the time, and what happened with the Challenge Cup final just proves that it was nonsense. We were fed a line, and this front-runner thing has no credibility at all, none whatsoever. So, I used to always watch the highlights programmes. I haven't watched the highlights programme for weeks. I'm not really interested. I don't know really when it's on. As I say, front-runner are absolutely rubbish at promoting themselves. So, yeah, I've got no impetus or incentive to watch the highlights programme. So, it's sad, but I don't know. As I say, my whole concern is what is going to happen with the playoff final weekend. That's for another day, but I sincerely
they've not really said where that is going to be free to air, have they?
Well, no.
They said it's free to air, but they haven't said where it's going to be. I take it'll be front runner.
Well, they haven't. Well, no. I think they haven't said it's free to air, have they? For the playoff final. I think
weekend. I read somebody saying on Twitter that they said it will be on TV. I suppose that may be different.
I think it'll be webcast. I think they'll have the Steelers TV guys doing it, to be honest with you, because obviously Panthers don't do a webcast.
And they'll be charging for it.
It'll be done. It'll be kept in-house to maximise the income. And with all the fraught difficulties that can bring about, I know the Steelers TV webcast is normally good, although I've had some problems with the Steelers webcast in the past. So if they're going to put the whole coverage of the playoff final weekend into those guys' hands, then that's fine. I just hope they can do it right. Because the Challenge Cup final is one thing, but the playoff final weekends is something else. And I won't be there this year. I'm going to be watching it on the telly. So I'm going to be a really, really, really horrendous armchair critic if it's not quite up to scratch. So there we go.
Okay, pop quiz. You must remember this. A kiss is just a kiss. Are we going to sideswipe this one, or are we going to talk about it? Kiss cam gate, if you want to call it that. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't obviously want to get too deep into it. David Sims, obviously we all know who David Sims is. We all know he's put his foot in it in the past. Has he put his foot in it this time, or are people overreacting, Jennifer?
Right, where to start with this one? Thanks for giving me the topic first.
You're welcome.
No, it's absolutely fine. I do thoroughly agree that David Sims is one of the old dinosaurs, as we'll call, sort of thing, where you've got misogynistic views, old-time views that basically aren't acceptable in this day and age. He's stuck in the 1970s, stuck in the 90s.